Hello everybody, welcome to this great episode of the Tommy Maroon Sports Show, where we will be talking about, your usual three stuff. That's right, high school basketball, the Cavs, and a big Super Bowl pregame. All of excitement right here, only on the Tommy Maroon Sports Show right here on WCTV. And of course, we have to go with our trivia question from last week to this week now, and here it is. What team has the longest Super Bowl drought, as in longest Super Bowl drought right now? Correct answer is the New York Jets. They have not made the Super Bowl since Super Bowl III, and they have not won the Super Bowl since Super Bowl III. In fact, they are the only team right now in football, now that the Chiefs have made the Super Bowl, they're the only team to make the Super Bowl in the 60s and not any timeouts. Not 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s, or 2010s. Those are 5 decades for you folks. Unimpressive. And of course, New York not the best city for sports as we have seen over the last few years. But we're not New York City, and thank goodness for that, because otherwise, a lot of frustration and disappointment. We're Cleveland, and we got to talk about high school basketball right here. High school basketball recaps of the Suburban League. Boys scores right here. Talmadge beat Aurora 84-79. Highland won on the final seconds as Roosevelt tried a 3 to tie, but couldn't. 31-28 as Roosevelt did Roosevelt things and play a slow, tedious defensive game. Revere beat Barberton 78-66. Hudson beat Brecksville 71-69. Wadsworth beat North Royalton 47-42. Royalton continuing their hot streak. They beat Stowe 61-53. And Twinsburg beat Cuyahoga Falls by a big whooping 84-30. What? And for the girls' scores, Aurora beat Barberton 49-31. Revere beat Copley 55-39. Talmadge beat Roosevelt 45-33. Wadsworth beat Cuyahoga Falls 46-22. Hudson beat Royalton 59-35. Stowe with a huge win against Nordonia, a 44-43 1-point victory there. And Twinsburg beat Brecksville 49-45. We need to see what to look for next week. Revere is seemingly in the clear now for the American Conference with that big win over Barberton. Twinsburg and Brecksville have a chance to pass North Royalton. Not going to be easy, though, but we'll see because, of course, Purple Bears still undefeated in the National Conference. And tonight, on the night we are taping, a big game between Highland and Aurora. I am going to be there. I am going to announce it for the Highland Hornet Sports Network, and hopefully we will get a big crowd tonight. Stowe swings the momentum their way after that win over Nordonia. We'll see if they can keep it up. And as usual, all Hornet home games now, and they will be on the Highland Hornet Sports Network on YouTube. So make sure you subscribe to it. We're 105 subscribers, so thank you. And no, I'm not doing anything special with that. This just so happened. We need to look at the Cleveland Cavaliers. Colin Sexton leads us with 19.3 points per game. Kevin Love, 17.4 points per game and 10 rebounds per game. Darius Garland, 12.3 points per game. Tristan Thompson has 12.3 points per game and 10.4 rebounds per game. This is actually really fun to do, but we have to take it down because this first page is almost done with. Time to look at the Cavs in the standings. Heading into Monday, a 12-34 record, 14th, unfortunately, in the Eastern Conference. 7.5 games back of the 8th seed in the playoffs. Third worst team in the NBA. The playoffs are seemingly out of reach, and trade rumors are growing, especially with Kevin Love, as you can see us right there. The only teams that are worse than us, the Price is Right Hornet, the Golden State Warriors, which were not on screen, and the Atlanta Hawks, which were at the bottom of your screen. So the Cavs had 4 games over the last week, and they went 1-3. Not bad for the Cavs. Excuse me on that. Right. Cavs against the Wizards, unfortunately lost to the Wizards, which was kind of disappointing, 124-112. Washington won 15-29. Cleveland 12-33. Bradley Beal with 36 points, 8 assists. and Davis Bertans and Ish Smith, 17 points each. Colin Sexton, 29 points. Kevin Love, 22 points and 12 rebounds. We were up by 12 in the first quarter at one point. Of course, it all fell downhill. Cavs against the Bulls, and the Bulls were able to win that one at the Rock, 118-106. They went to 18-30 on that, and we fell down to 12-34. Zach Lavine lit it up like he has all season long for those Bulls. 44 points, 10 rebounds, and 8 assists. 2 assists shy of a triple-double. Pretty crazy if you ask me. And Thomas Satoransky had 19 points. Kevin Love had 20 and 11 rebounds to go along with it. Larry Nance Jr., 15 points and 11 rebounds too. And, of course, we lost the lead in the second half, so it's not been going well. And then we played Detroit, and we beat Detroit. Good news right there, a 115-100 victory. We won to 13-34. Detroit fell down 17-31. Count Sexton, 23 points. Kevin Love, 20.7 rebounds. Tristan Thompson, 17 points, 11 rebounds. Reggie Jackson for Detroit had 16 points. Andre Drummond had 15. And we snapped our 7-game losing streak. That's right, snapped the 7-game losing streak. And thank goodness for that. And then the next night, we went back to the Rock to play the New Orleans Pelicans, and the Pelicans won that one 125-111. They went to 19-29. We went to 13-35. Drew Holiday, 28 points, 8 assists. Brandon Ingram had 24 points. Zion Williamson, who is back now. He's been back for the last week, I believe. Zion's been lighting it up for those Pelicans. 14 points and 9 rebounds. Colin had 22 points. Larry had 17 and 11 rebounds. The Pelicans led for most of the game, including scoring 40 points in the first quarter. They were that good. They were that electric. So now it's time for the moment you've hopefully been all waiting for. That's right. It's my Super Bowl show right here. It's episode 27, of course, and episode number 27 will be our big Super Bowl episode, our annual Super Bowl episode, as we will get ready for a Super Bowl 54 preview right here, WCTV. We're going to start off with each team's stats. Not team stats, but just player stats, I guess. Kansas City Chiefs with a 12-4 record, first in the AFC West and second in the AFC. Only the Ravens were better, of course, the Ravens. Patrick Mahomes did Patrick Mahomes things. 65.9 completion percentage right there. 4,031 yards, 26 touchdowns. They have 5 picks. That's Patrick Mahomes. 5 picks. Just having that little interceptions this season is crazy. And Travis Kelce, of course Travis Kelce, the best tight end maybe in the NFL. 97 receptions, 1,229 yards, 12.7 yards per reception, and 5 touchdowns. Tyreek the Freak Hill, 58 receptions, 860 yards, 14.8 yards per reception, 7 touchdowns. Why do I call him Tyreek the Freak? Because all the defense freaks out when they hear their name or hear his name, and they're like, oh, what do we do now? We are not going to contain him. And, of course, Chiefs defense can't sleep on them, especially when Tyrann Mathieu has 4 interceptions, 75 tackles, and Anthony Hitchens 1 forced fumble and 88 tackles. And the San Francisco 49ers stats right there, 13-3, first in the NFC West and first in all of the NFC. Jimmy Garoppolo got out of Tom Brady's shadow with a 69.1 completion percentage, 3,978 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 13 picks. Raheem Mostert, 37 attempts, 772 yards, and 8 touchdowns. George Kittle, if Kelce isn't the best tight end in the NFL, it has to be George Kittle with 85 receptions, 1,053 yards, 12.4 yards per reception, and 5 TDs. Richard Sherman had 3 INTs, 61 tackles, and 1 touchdown. Fred Warner had 3 forced fumbles and 118 tackles. Time to look at the team stats, courtesy of one of my favorite websites out there, Pro Football Reference. So Kansas City Chiefs, a little hard to read that, but 451 points, 28.2 points per game, 5th in the NFL. 308 points allowed, 19.3 points per game, 7th in the NFL. Their expected record, 14.4 to 4.6. Their simple rating system, or SRS, 9.14, 4th in the NFL. And their strength of schedule at 0.2. 49ers have 479 points per game. That's nearly 30 points per game, folks. 2nd in the NFL, 310 points allowed. That's not even 20 like the Chiefs. That's 8th in the NFL. Their expected record was 11.8 and 4.2. Their simple rating system, SRS, 10.97, 2nd in the NFL. And their strength of schedule was at 0.41. So you know what that means? They have a big schedule compared to Kansas City. Now we need to look at the coaches' profiles because these two coaches, very talented. Andy Reid, of course, he coaches the Chiefs. He is in his 21st season as head coach, 7th with Kansas City, spent his first 14 seasons with the Philadelphia Eagles, 3 losing seasons in his career. He made the playoffs 15 times in his career. 15! He's had Donovan McNabb, Michael Vick, Alex Smith, and Patrick Mahomes as quarterbacks. One previous Super Bowl appearance as a head coach, it was in 39 with the Eagles. He lost that Super Bowl 24-21 to the mighty New England Patriots. But he did win Super Bowl 31 with Green Bay as a tight end / offensive lineman coach. And, of course, Andy Reid is regarded by many, including myself, to be one of the greatest head coaches of all time that has never won the Super Bowl. If you exclude that tight end's offensive line coach, I'm referring to head coach. He is definitely looking to seal the deal on his Hall of Fame opportunity, his Hall of Fame bid. If he can win it, Canton is right in front of him. Kyle Shanahan on the other side is the coach of the 49ers. And he is the son of 2-time Super Bowl champion Mike Shanahan. It's his 3rd season as head coach. And all of them with San Francisco. Spent all of his previous 9 seasons as an offensive coordinator. First with the Texans, then with the Redskins, then here with the Brownies. And was given text messages by Ray Farmer on what to do, the general manager. And both left after the season. He went to Atlanta, helped them reach the Super Bowl. Of course, the Falcons still blew a 28-3 lead in the Super Bowl. It is the first time he has reached the Super Bowl or a playoffs as a head coach. And winning Super Bowl 54 could be another result of the dreaded curse of Jim Brown, as we all know. My big documentary. So now we have to look at the roads to the Super Bowl. The road to the Super Bowl is a long road, but everybody has their own story. That's right, the Kansas City Chiefs were heavyweight favorites for Super Bowl 54 this season. I had them losing in the AFC divisional round in episode 9 when I did my football preview. They won their first 4 games and they won their last 6. They went on a 2-4 run midway through the season. They lost Patrick Mahomes on Thursday night at Denver due to an injury. They beat the mighty Patriots on the road. They overcame a 24-point deficit to beat Houston in the divisional round, which is sponsored by the people in Houston who so want Bill O'Brien fired, which I kind of doubt, because Houston's probably going to hold on to him until they fail to make the playoffs. And they overcame a 17-7 deficit to beat Tennessee in the championship game. 49ers rode to the Super Bowl. They weren't expected to do well, and Shanahan in his 3rd season, 30 years, the charm on the hot seat. I had them in 3rd place in the NFC West in episode 9. Only the Cardinals could do worse, is what I thought. But then they surprised everybody and won the first 8 games of the season. They lost all their 3 games in the final seconds. All losses were by 7 points or less. The only 3 teams they lost to were Seattle in overtime. They lost to Baltimore in the final seconds. And they lost to Atlanta on a touchdown with under 5 seconds. And then the Falcons scored another touchdown on the ensuing kickoff. and Dre Greenlaw. Every 49ers fan is definitely applauding him and trying to shake his hand and probably trying to hug him because he tackled Jacob Hollister of Seattle 1 yard short with the NFC West on the line. If Hollister scored a touchdown, the Seahawks would have most likely have won the division. But Greenlaw was there to stop him, and rather than the Niners being the wild card, they are here at the Super Bowl. They easily beat Minnesota at the divisional round, and they easily beat Green Bay in the championship game. Now, in case you don't know, I love to play sports video games, especially PlayStation 2 Madden. And Wii Madden, by the way, which is why I have done all of these games based on the Super Bowl. Super Bowl video game recaps right there on your screen. Madden 2002, Chiefs beat the 49ers 23-17 in overtime. By the way, what I do is that I control one team in the first half and then the other team in the second half. And for overtime, I usually just tell our Alexa to flip a coin. That's usually how I start off with one team compared to another. Pretty fun to do it, of course. And then in 2003, we saw that the Chiefs, that's right, the Chiefs beat the 49ers 28-27. Man, 2004, 49ers beat the Chiefs 35-24. Man, 05, Chiefs beat the Niners 23-17. ESPN NFL 2K5, the greatest football video game of all time, according to many critics and fans, including myself. Chiefs won 24-21. I had a crazy 75-yard reverse touchdown with Johnny Morton. Remember him, folks? It was a toss play to Priest Holmes. Yes, I'm speaking old football. And then it was a handoff to Johnny, and he was supposed to go left, but I didn't know. I wanted him to go right. Went down sideline, breakaway touchdown. Madden 08, the Chiefs won 29-17. Madden 12 on the Wii. 49ers beat the Chiefs 30-28. As Alex Smith threw a game-winning touchdown pass to Vernon Davis with 0 seconds on the clock. Madden 13 on the Wii. 49ers beat the Chiefs 35-31. Madden 13 on the Wii U. The 49ers beat the Chiefs 38-24. So a lot of great stuff right there. And, of course, time for our final verdict right here on who is winning the Super Bowl. Should be a close game with offensive excitement. Mahomes and Garoppolo, I think, should have at least 2 touchdown passes each. Kelsey and Hill will, of course, be the biggest targets for Kansas City. Raheem should get the most carries. It may be the push San Francisco needs because, remember, the Chiefs are more of a pass offense, and Raheem Mostert has been doing a good job running all season long, so you never know about him. My final right there, Kansas City 34, San Francisco 28. Of course, that's just my opinion. Mahomes should win Super Bowl MVP and should prove that there is no Madden curse once and for all, because I really don't believe in the Madden curse. But I do believe in some curses, like the Cleveland curse, the once dreaded curse, now that it's over luckily, the curse of Calavito, and of course the curse of Jim Brown. So, time for the wrap-up and stuff. A great, exciting episode. We spent about 10, 15 minutes roughly about the Super Bowl. It was more like 10 minutes. But now time for my question of the week. Who is the only Super Bowl or only special teams player to win Super Bowl MVP? Who is the only special teams player to win Super Bowl MVP? And of course, we'll answer that next week on the Tommy Maroon Sports Show. So long.